Allegory of the Dark House Well Lit, or the Menagerie of Strange Remnants, a short story. Another night, ordinary and unanticipated, and Gib Drysdale arrives and asks if I will accompany him out to the Hunter House again. It is the third occasion, and by now he is less perplexed and talks of side matters on the way there. It is on the old highway, or rather its service road, the Hunter House. The whole brown town was bypassed. Gib himself slipped on an opportunity. In the original plan, his property would be rezoned. He was approached by investors who saw a lion park at that location. The earthworks were started. At the main entrance off Canning Road, in what was once the industrial estate, the canning factory was there till the 1970s. Construction had started on a huge set of lion's jaws through which you drive to the car park. But the zoning failed, and the investor disappeared. Now when you visit Gib, you drive through a giant lion's mouth as you drive up to his bush shack with all the dogs barking. Worse, the feature is unfinished. The teeth had never been installed. Now when you visit Gib, you drive through a pair of giant lion's gums as you drove up to his bush shack with all the dogs barking. He didn't take his dogs out to the Hunter House though. He did the first time and the animals refused to go inside. "Thanks for this," he says to me as we set out. "Any sign of Janet?" I ask. He says not. Janet, in fact, has been away for several years. We are caught in a loop. I am always going to say, "Any sign of Janet?" And he is always going to say, "How's Mikey going?" Meaning my son Mikey, who was supposed to be studying computing in the city. And I say, "Fine," even though there is a backstory to that I'm not going to mention to Gib Drysdale. The matter he wanted to discuss loomed up out of the question. When you were a kid and people asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up, what did you tell them? "A fireman," I said. "What about you?" "I was in so much trouble when I was a kid," he explained. "I wanted to be a cop." But he laughed. Every time I asked someone that, he said, they are never anything like what they wanted to be. I was not a fireman, and he was certainly not a cop. Nor was he lion-hearted. He wasn't going out to the Hunter House alone. "I always wanted to move to the city," he went on, "and be a city cop, not a country cop, tackle some real crime." After driving in silence for a while, he concluded, "None of that happened." In the interlude, I think about Mikey. He always wanted to be a magician. He had the toy magic kit and the top hat and did tricks, making things disappear when he was little. A bit further, Gib began, "Have I ever shown you the artist impressions they had drawn up for the lion park?" "You did show me those once, yeah," I said. After driving in silence for a while again, he said, "Never happened." Eventually he said, "There are some photos of old Lady Hunter, you know." "You said," I said, meaning on our previous drive out to the Hunter House. "I found another one," he said, "at the newspaper, on file. She's 19 years old. Her coming out. There's the Gottlieb guy in the background." We know what happened there. The Gottlieb guy, older than her by a margin, left her standing at the altar. Otherwise, the newspaper had photos of her 25 years later winning a silver ribbon for her quince jelly. The service road up to the house is in disrepair. We slow down in any case to observe from the distance. The dark house well lit. The proper state of things is to drive along that road and only see the dark, empty house on the rise and the swarm of rabbits in the headlights. It has been empty for 5 years. But on this night, as on 2 previous nights, when Gib was driving home to his lion gums from his job splitting timber in the forests westward, there is the Hunter House with every light turned on, every curtain pulled open, but nobody home. As we drove slowly up to the illumination, Gib changes the topic again. I don't know about you, he said, but most mornings I wake up thinking I'm living in a totally different world, the world as it was supposed to be, and then it takes me a while to get used to the world as it actually is. And the way it actually is isn't the way it's supposed to be. This was typical Gib talk, as it was supposed to be. I was a fireman and he was a cop. Janet wasn't gone. She'll be back. Mikey was a stage magician who made elephants disappear. We entered the house through the front door. Everything was unlocked. Once again, lights burning in every room. Gib had his flashlight and his rifle, the rifle he used for shooting bunnies. There was no shortage of bunnies. In 5 years, rabbits had devoured the whole valley, stripped the grasses, mutilated the quince orchard along the creek side into a menagerie of strange remnants. We both went to the fuse box. The main fuse was intact again. Gib looked at it, then looked at me. I looked at him and we both shrugged our shoulders. He pulled out the fuse and put it in his pocket, the third time now. The house went dark, like it was supposed to be. In the darkness, with the flashlight, we went around and shut the curtains and blinds and locked the doors again. On the way back to the car, Gib took the fuse from his pocket and tossed it up and down in his hand. "This isn't supposed to be happening," he said.